All right, that's amazing, folks. Good to be back and back with a bang with amazing learners out here. Thank you so much for joining in. And this evening is really special because today's topic is something which we all need. Trust me, wherever you are in this entire world, in whichever capacity you work or you may not work, still this skill applies to you. I'm talking about something very personal, something very, very personal. And yes, I'm talking about interpersonal skills. Have you ever come across this term called as interpersonal skills? What are these skills? I mean, what do these skills stand for? What is its importance, or why is it important? I mean, in this world where there are so many kinds of jobs, still, if you pick up any job description, you would find this skill, that is interpersonal skill, making its presence felt. Folks, very important. I know that some of you might be aware of it, but to what extent are you aware of it? That's also a question. And if you're not aware of this term altogether, then don't worry, this video is for you. So if you really want to understand, then just stay tuned to the last bit of this video. And I'm sure that you will learn a lot about how we can work and develop our interpersonal skills. To simplify it for you, I will not use any jargons, any complex terms, any definitions. I'll just make it simple for you that interpersonal skills can be synonymous to people skills. You can replace the word people skills with interpersonal skills. Now, why do I say that? Observe. Observe your entire day and see. Do you meet some humans? Do you meet some people in the entire day? It can be your friends. It can be your colleagues. It can be your parents. It can be your siblings. It can be anyone in the society. Do you come across people in your life? I bet yes. You don't stay in a jungle, right? You're not a caveman hiding. I am a caveman. I don't talk to anyone. No, right? You do meet people on a daily basis. Yes, you do come across people, but how well you behave, how well you connect with them is all about interpersonal skills. How well you connect with people is about people skills. Now, this is important, folks. We don't just work with machines. No matter, many of us spend our entire day with the machine called as a mobile phone. However, we need to come across humans if we have to get our work done. If you really want to disconnect with human beings, then you should not have been born in this age. You should have been born maybe few 50, 100 years ahead, where there are only robots and you need not have anyone around you than robots. That's a world which perhaps we may or we may not witness, fingers crossed. Now, let us understand. Let us understand that we may or may not see that era, but what can we do by staying in this current era of having humans around us? Has it happened with you that when you have people around you, you're a bit uncomfortable? You don't feel at peace when you have a lot of people around you. Or when you have to speak with people, you don't feel that comfortable. You feel like, I am not feeling at ease, or there's a lot of stress that builds up because of the people around you. Does it happen? Does it happen that you have people around you, but you are so stressed up that you're not able to behave in your natural self? You can behave freely, But because of the people around you, you're not able to move around comfortably. You're too conscious about your movements, your behavior, everything. And that's because of lack of people skills. You're too conscious about who you are, the way you come across, and all that stuff. Let's understand, folks, that what do we mean by people skills? When you talk to people, when you meet people, when you come across individuals, the way you communicate with them, number one thing, the way you communicate with them is very important. A machine, you can turn it on or turn it off. Switch on, switch off. Machine would not mind. Machine does not have any emotions to react or respond. However, with humans, when you are dealing with humans over there, the way you communicate using your words, using your voice, using your body language, all these things count. And that can make a big difference. As I've shared in my other videos around how to use body language and how to use expression and voice, you can watch that to know more about how you should be there listening to people. That's also one more part of communication, which we seldomly use, which we often ignore, that how actively we listen. I've always talked about it that in this world, people do not give attention to anyone. They simply take people for granted. And if you have to build good people skills, that when you speak with someone, when you spend time with someone, they feel that, hey, this was nice. It was a nice experience spending time with that person. Does it happen with you? That when you meet people, you feel some kind of positive vibes. Tell me honestly, if you have experienced something, just type in, yes, it's beautiful. Just type in, yes, it's beautiful. When you have experienced something of that sort, when you met someone and you felt so positive, you talked to someone, you felt so positive, you felt so good. I mean, that person has not motivated you. That person has just been there with you, has just talked to you for a few minutes, and you felt so good that, wow, I feel so good. Does it happen, folks? Does it happen? Yes, it's beautiful. Absolutely. There are people, right? And it happens because the way this person makes you feel, the way this person makes you feel, this person was having this empathy, was having this compassion, was having this concern for you. Today, because people do not get attention, they start talking about themselves a lot, brag about themselves a lot. And as a result, they're not concerned about how you are feeling, what is going in your life. They're like, oh, let me tell you, life is so bad. When you meet someone in the morning, maybe in your college, school, workplace, or wherever, and you ask someone that, hey, how's the day going? They'll say, yeah, good, it's good. But when you'll talk to the person in private and say, how is it actually going? Don't ask me, it's terrible. Life is hell for me. I cannot tell you, Devas. It's a super mess. Now, this person was heard. Now, this person expresses himself and shares what he's going through. Else, everyone is trying to create a facade, living in this false world, and just trying to say that, hey, everything is fine. But the moment you prick someone, hey, how's it going? We just start venting out our emotions, our feeling, what we behave, what we think. It's really important, folks, that when you spend time with someone, you bring in empathy in the center. People have ego issues, a lot of ego issues. You have to be calm. I'm concerned about you as you're watching this session. I'm concerned about you. That's it. If we change, we can change others as well. But let's make an attempt to change ourselves first. So when you spend time with the other person, just bring in this empathy part. in the center, and then talk to people. Show compassion, show warmth. That's really important. Observe that in case of interpersonal skills, whenever there is a conflict, the other person has one perspective and I have another perspective. Chances are that we might be like, you have your perspective, I have my perspective. Either we can say, get lost. You keep yours, I keep mine. Get lost, I don't care. That can be one way. And the other way can be to discuss, to negotiate, to reconsider things and come to a common point. Yes or no? For conflict resolution, for settling down the conflicts which people have, not just in business, but also in the personal life. If you have to settle down those conflicts, what do? You do listen, you do discuss, you do share your points, not like, hey, how do you say this to me? How dare you say this to me? Don't you know who I am? I was surprised. I will tell you something. I have been training in different parts of the country, but there are some parts of the country, some kinds of people who get offended very easily. They're like, don't you know who I am? Don't you know my dad's name? I'm like, no. Do I need to know that? He's like, yeah, I am a son of so and so. I'm like, does that define you, or do you have your own definition? And then he gets hurt. He gets hurt. I love it. I love doing this because I want to show that person that, hey, this is a false ego. And when this person has this bloated ego, he cannot have good interpersonal skills. I do counsel him thereafter that, hey, buddy, you need to understand this. I do take care of the person, but still, it's really important for people to realize that their egoistic nature will not work. When you have to go for a conflict resolution, sometimes when you work in an organization, you get a feedback from your manager. You're like, he shouldn't be that rude. This is bad. I didn't like the way he I didn't like the way he said all these things. I'm very pissed off. People get hurt. Now, the fault is also from the manager's side, that when he's giving a feedback, or if you're a manager watching this video, or if you're at a position when you give a feedback to someone, you can simply say, it was horrible. You suck. You literally suck. You can use all those kind of words. What will happen? Would you earn some points for yourself? Would you feel that, I just said it out. I don't keep anything with myself. I just puked. We have a habit. Some Indians have a habit to puke anywhere they find a corner. Yes. And like similarly, they're like some people who just like say it out. I said it. I'm very honest. Not realizing that the person does not have good people skills because he's not considered the fact that what impact these words can have on the other person. If it makes sense to you so far, type in makes absolute sense. Type in makes absolute sense. If it makes sense to you so far, folks, come on. That's how it works. All right. Good. Nice. Taking it further, that what all skills do we include under interpersonal skills? We discussed about how you communicate, how much empathy, compassion you show, how much attention you give to the other person, your active listening skills. Active listening, you all know, by genuinely, physically and mentally listen to a person, all attention to the person, by nodding, by questioning, by probing. There are techniques which I've shared previously in the other videos. You can watch it. What more? Where else do we need good people skills? Certainly, we have people around. So even when it comes to leadership, I've often talked about leadership in one of my videos, that how you can be an effective leader. Over there, How can you lead people? How can you lead a team? Can you lead a team just by being a dictator? The other person might follow you because he has no option. He has no choice, that he has to follow whatever you say. Now, that's being a dictator. That's not being a great leader. As a leader, you should be able to empower, you should be able to motivate, you should be able to support your followers who are trusting you. And for that, you need to understand individuals. Folks, understand, just by saying that I want to be a leader does not make you a leader. How much compassion, how much concern you show towards people is very important, is very, very important. If you don't realize the importance of it, certainly you will never build those bonds. You would end up being a manager. Fair enough, make a choice. It's very important, folks, that either we stop aspiring to be a leader, or if we have to be a great leader, then we ought to bring in interpersonal skills into consideration. The word is interpersonal. Inter as in between two people, and how your words, your behavior, your personality, your thoughts, your actions can affect the other person. If you can just bring in one thought, I'm not asking you to transform overnight. No, nobody can. It takes time. It does take time. Just given this kind of conditioning that, hey, consciously, I need to be careful the next time I talk to someone. Consciously, I would listen to the other person. No matter, I have a lot to share. You finish off, let me speak. That might be your by default action, but calm down, listen. The other person has something to share. The communication would be much more effective if you listen more. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Just imagine if it would have been the other way around. 1 ear and 2 mouths. Terrible. The world is already a noisy place, my dear friends. It would have been noisy like hell. Yes or no? What do you say? Wouldn't it be noisy like hell if we have 2 mouths and just 1 ear? Who would listen? Who would listen? So listening is really important. How you resolve conflicts, how you negotiate things, it's really important. Folks, if you look at it, you pick up any of the job description. This is for all the folks out here who may be aspiring to enter the workforce or even at a different level. HRs, recruiters, they look for the skill set, not because it's a mandate, but when they have you on board, when you work with their teams, it is then that the skill matters the most. You may be the most competent engineer. You may be the best resource person that the organization can have. You'll be highly qualified, highly skilled at your work. But the way you talk to your colleagues, your subordinates, you make them feel like nothing. You are nothing. Trust me, you would not last long. You would not last long. Because people want to work with people who care for each other, who respect each other, who understand each other. It cannot continue for a long time. Think about it. This applies to your relationship as well. How well you connect with your friends, family members, and other people around you. How well you build a bond. There are some people who are great team players, incredible team players. They are so much passionate, so much concerned about how they behave in those groups. That's so important. How much you appreciate others than criticizing. I often see people that some people in the organizations have this habit to just criticize and complain and crib. This is what they love doing. They love talking about others. Great people do not talk about people. Great people talk about ideas. So stop cribbing. If you have to talk about people, just talk to the person than talking about the person. Talk to the person and share, discuss. That is appreciable than just hiding behind the screen or hiding behind someone and just venting out your emotions. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Yes, no? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's so important. It's so important, folks. You need to ask these questions to yourself. I can go on and on and on and on and on, but you ought to understand that till when would you try not to have people around you? Someday or the other, you would be in a position where you have to show your real face. Initially, when people join the organization, they show their one kind of face. But sooner or later, the mask falls off because you know that you have to be you. You have to be you if you have to sustain. You have to sustain. Absolutely. That is the point. Talk to the person rather than talking about the person. That's one thing which I've noticed perhaps in maximum organizations with maximum people. People who are stuck in their life or who are so-called growing in their own way, they don't realize this. They love shifting the blame onto the other person than taking ownership. They don't understand that everyone is facing a challenge, everyone is trying to do his level best, but it is their mindset that makes them realize that it is all because of this person. What happens ultimately when you show this kind of nature, this kind of behavior? You are portrayed as someone who is always a critique, who is not positive, who is someone whom we cannot trust. Absolutely. If the person can talk to you about someone, then he can talk to that someone about you. It's simple. How can you trust a person like this? And when you do not trust anyone, you don't work with that person. You might be forced to work in a team with the person, but not for long. Not for long. Yes or no? Yes or no? So if you realize that, hey, interpersonal skills are really important for me, then do drop in. It's important. When you type, you give a trigger to your brain that, yes, brain, listen to this very carefully. From now on, I should be slowly and gradually make some attempts to bring it as a part of my default settings. It would take some time, but that's really important. Oh, that's nice. Well. On this note, I would see you live in the next session. Until then, you have to stay awesome and stay productive. And before we say bye-bye, we'll take some questions. We'll take some questions before we wrap it up. Okay, people are appreciating the looks. Oh, thank you so much, Mariam. I look handsome. Wow, you made my evening. Great. I would appreciate, we should start appreciating each other. People don't appreciate each other. They're like, why should I appreciate him? Or if you appreciate, do it genuinely. If you have to give a feedback also, give a constructive feedback, a feedback that makes the person better. What is the point of feedback which doesn't make the person better? If it can boost the morale, yes, it is making it better. If it can encourage someone, yes, it is making it better. If it can improve the skill set, yes, it is better. So better has a lot of definitions. Okay, there's a question coming in by someone who says like this and says, so how to deal with negative people if you have to work with them? Well, first things first, that you have to work with them. You cannot change that fact because you may not have it in your control. You've been forced or you've been destined to work with them. How to deal with them? you have to deal with yourself that their negative behavior, either you try to change their behavior, that's a Herculean task. The simplest way is that how you respond to that negativity. How you respond to that negativity. It's simple, folks, that either you can isolate yourself. That's not possible because you have to work in teams. So you have to be in that energy circle, which is negative, unfortunately. So either talk to the person who is exuding this negative energy, just speak with them. The person does not want to be negative. Try and understand. Before we say that, hey, he's negative, there are circumstances, there are situations, there are things going in his head. Just think about it. What would be going in his poor head that is being vented out? How much struggle would he be having with himself that he's so negative? Do you realize this? That what would be the inner conflict that we see in the outer world? So instead of saying that you're a negative person, get lost, stay away from me, just go to him and talk, listen, talk and listen. Try to understand him, that why is it happening? Don't try to come to a conclusion. Don't try to give advice. No, listen. Why does this person feel that way? Don't judge, don't criticize, don't complain about him. Don't do that. You do not know what he's going through. And when you understand that, hey, this person is going through some illness, I should be calm, I should be compassionate, I should show empathy towards him instead of getting angry at him. No, I should not do that. I should not do that. Let me be calm. Let me be calm. Yes. So somewhere down the line, you can change your response to that person instead of changing that person. Think about it. Think about it. That instead we think that, why this world is like this? How come everyone is so negative? You will be terrified, my dear friend. You'll be terrified if you stay in this way. Rather, just try to change your response that you would showcase when you have such people around you. Let them be there. Let them be there. Just you remain calm. Make sense? All right. This is awesome. Someone says that I tried to find the session of Sunday 13, but I cannot find it. Please, can you please share the link? Well, if you cannot find it, then it must not be there. Simple. You know what? All the videos are there on the YouTube. So in case you have joined for the first time over here, I welcome you. And the other videos have been posted, have already been there on the YouTube. So do check out those videos. And in case you're not updated, that's because you haven't subscribed. So do that so that you know that which is the video that has been posted. You'll get a notification. I hope you get this. All right. Sanjay, so you explained big things simple way. That's my job, Sanjay. Thank you so much. I take from today's session, talk to a person rather than talking about person. Bang on, absolutely. Okay, you're addicted to me. Oh my God, addiction is bad. All right. Let's pick up some other question. Okay, this is nice. This is nice. One question that comes in is, when discussing on a conflict, what if the other person doesn't agree or understand to anything you had to say? Let's repeat again for all of you. When discussing on a conflict, what if the other person doesn't agree or understand to anything you had to say? Well, Kuber, you ought to make an effort that why this person isn't understanding, isn't agreeing. Sometimes we get adamant. Sometimes we get hardwired that this is my perspective and it should be right. Why? Because it is my perspective. Do you have a reason? No, it is my perspective. This can be your thought or this can be his thought as well. That even he is also hooked to his idea. Okay, this is my thought. And the person is trying hard not to prove his point right, but rather he's trying harder to prove your point wrong. You get this, right? That the intention of the person is not to prove that, hey, listen to this point. He somewhere down the line doesn't want you to be right. That's why he will try to do something to make you feel that you are wrong. Now understand what is the scene. The other person may not like you. That can be one reason. So you ought to again communicate interpersonal skills. Just talk to the person that, hey, ultimately we have to decide, we have to negotiate, we have to come to a conclusion that is win-win for both of us. Certainly you would not accept something which is not in your favor. Similarly, something which is against me, I won't take that. If it is a value conflict, you won't take that. If it is a benefit way that, okay, you get more benefit, I do not, it has to be a win-win. That's how we negotiate, right? That both of us should be okay with the terms and conditions. Yes. Now, when you get this thing clear, that the purpose of this discussion, this negotiation, is to come to a conclusion which is beneficial for you and me, right? It's beneficial for you and I. In that scenario, I would not spend much time, right, unnecessarily debating. Debating and discussing are two different things. Many times we think that, if it is a discussion, it is just about proving the other person wrong. No. Get the intent right. Listen to the person, that why he says what he says. Ask him that, have you seen this from this perspective? Instead of saying, no, this is wrong. No. I do understand what you're trying to say. However, if we see from this perspective, don't you feel that what you're trying to say has this loophole? Ask him. Instead of you proving him wrong, just ask him that, don't you feel that this is wrong? I hope you get this. And that's how you take the conversation ahead. The moment you say that you are wrong, person feels offended. He goes in the defense mechanism. Don't do that. All right. So much positive vibes. Awesome. Have those positive vibes, folks. And I would request everyone to share this video in all your WhatsApp groups, on your social media, Facebook. Do that. Do that. I would really appreciate it. Wow. Awesome, folks. Thank you so much for joining in. I would see you when? Hey, we may not see you tomorrow or day after. Chances are really high. I would be busy with some personal work, which is already committed. And so please do check out, okay? I would update you on the YouTube itself. So all those who are not updated, do that so that you remain updated. And you'll definitely meet. But when, I would update it on the YouTube. So till then, stay awesome, stay productive. And do share this, okay? I would be happy to see, and do tag me if you're sharing it, or on Instagram or Facebook or in WhatsApp. WhatsApp, you can only tag me, but Facebook, you can tag me. Instagram, you can tag me. I would love to see. Toodles. Bye-bye.